Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast. At the end of last week's episode, I left you with a little preview on this car, and that is a 1/32 scale Lotus Exige by Kinsmart. This is arguably the prettiest Kinsmart I have in my collection, and I just love this color combination. Black with yellow stripes, and the number 3 race livery. So what you're looking at here is a Series 3 Lotus Exige S in 1/32 scale by Kinsmart. So after last week's reviews where I showed you the Lotus Europa and the Lotus Evora S, today I'll take you through the most famous of the Lotus cars, which is the Lotus Exige. Now, technically speaking, the most famous Lotus car is actually the Lotus Elise. But the Lotus Elise is basically a Lotus with a soft top, like a removable top. And what Lotus decided to do is create an alternate version of the Elise with a hardtop, and that hardtop Elise is called the Exige. Now, the Lotus Exige has been in production since 2000. However, the car that you're looking at here is the Series 3, which did not start production until 2012. The Lotus Exige also gained popularity in the US when John Hennessey of Hennessey Motors took a Series 2 Exige and modified it to create the world's fastest accelerating car at the time, including top speed, which was the Hennessey Venom GT. But today in 2019, not many people talk about the Hennessey Venom GT anymore, because a few years ago, Christian from Koenigseggs came around and basically took Hennessey out of the competition, and he became known as the guy who keeps beating Bugatti. But yeah, the Hennessey Venom GT was basically there to beat the Bugatti Veyron, and it did manage to beat its speed record. And the Venom's strength was basically going in a straight line as fast as possible. The Lotus Exige it is based on, however, was a smaller car with a much less powerful engine, and the Elise is essentially there to go in curves. Like, this is a sports car, a really lightweight sports car with excellent handling and great torque. But that was the Series 2, and the way you can tell it was a Series 2 is because the Series 2 had like 4 different headlights. It had like a headlight over here, then a headlight over here, another headlight over here, and then another headlight over here, which personally did not look that good. But when Lotus released the Series 3 from 2012 onward, they improved a lot on the looks of the car, and I think that this car looks pretty cool. Now, together with the other Kinsmart cars, I also got this car from a Lithuanian eBay dealer called Cerberus Andrios, who sells Kinsmart cars without boxes for fairly cheap. I think I paid like 7 or 8 euros for this one. So you can still find this car on eBay pretty easily. And Kinsmart makes this car in several other colors as well. Next to this black with yellow stripes, there's also a plain black version. Then there's a plain white, red, and yellow version. And on top of that, Kinsmart also makes this car in like a colorful mixture. Like we have here a blue and silver mix, got a yellow and silver mix, a red and silver mix, and a teal and silver mix. And on top of that, Kinsmart also produces the 2012 Lotus Exige RGT version of this car, which comes in its own livery and has like additional headlamps on the front. But without any more further ado, let's take a look at the front of this car. So when I said earlier that I like the front of this car, this is basically what I meant. I mean, the headlights are really an improvement over the Series 2 in my opinion, and Kinsmart did a pretty solid job on these, as they always do, because there are no pegs here, and you can see the DRL strip as well. The lights themselves are painted in silver, and the rest of the headlight kept in black. And what's more, we also have a Lotus logo in the middle, which looks really cool. And on top of that, we have the number 3 race livery. On the hood, you will also see that we have these vents here. And they have a little texture going on. Nothing special, though. And what I also like about the whole looks of the car are the side view mirrors, which are painted red. And we also have these 3 air intakes up at the front, which provide a lot of aerodynamics for the car when it's moving. And here's a look at the car's side profile. Looks pretty nice and sleek. The car has silver rims, although this being a Kinsmart, don't expect any brake discs or brake calipers on the side, and the front wheels do not swivel either. You can again see the number 3 logo here, as well as silver painted indicators. And then over here, we have a little air scoop. And you can also see that we have a key lock right up the door. As much as I like the front of the car, I think the back looks even cooler. You got so much details going on here, which is very amazing for a 1/32 scale Kinsmart actually. You can see the Lotus branding over here in the middle. It says Exige S on the rear license plate. The yellow racing stripe extends to the back. Got 4 taillights. They are kept in red and have like a silver part in the middle, although I think that this could have been painted a little bit better. Got your rear diffuser down here. Chrome tipped exhaust. And what looks like a orange part in the middle. Really nice details. And the back of the Lotus Exige, or even Elise, has always been my favorite part of the Lotus cars. But with the Series 3, where they fixed the looks of the front, I think that the back now is no longer the only part that's beautiful about these Lotus cars. But let's move on further up, shall we? As we move further up, we come to the most impressive level of detail that we have going on this Kinsmart car, because this is the engine of the Lotus Exige. And this is done very nicely. So what we've got going here is a supercharged 3.5 liter V6 engine that has been taken from the Evora S, which is rated at 345 brake horsepower, and originally was made by Toyota, and therefore is quite a reliable engine because, as I said in my last video regarding the Lotus Evora, that one of the things that Lotus owners always dread is their engines breaking down. But if you have a reliable Toyota engine whose spare parts are always readily available everywhere, then you really have a reliable car as well. Because the engine breaking down is always one of those issues for Lotus owners. And this engine is capable of going from 0 to 100 km per hour in 3.8 seconds, and has a top speed of 279 kilometers per hour. This makes for a very quick sports car that begins to encroach on supercar territory. We also have this nice spoiler at the back, which gives the car a really sporty look. Here's the silver fuel cap. Now as we move on to the interior of this car, unfortunately everything is black. However, there is a fair bit of detail here. You can see that we have the air vents, although they're not painted. We also have center console, along with a few buttons for what appears to be a automatic transmission. And of course we have the e-brake hinted at over here between the seats. The seats are fairly alright looking. I mean, this is a Kinsmart car, but you still got some details on the backs of the seats. And even though this is a British car, they have made it here left-wheel drive, probably intended for the European market. So let's check out the driver's side. So at the driver's side, you can see that the steering wheel has a fair bit of detail in the middle, although of course nothing is painted. And behind the steering wheel, we have the gauge cluster, where the gauges are hinted at, but there is no sticker or anything like that to illustrate them. And down below we also have the floor pedals. They also have a little bit of a texture on them. So looking at the car's bottom, you can see that it says 2012 Lotus Exige S, scale 132, Kinsmart, made in China. It's got a fair bit of detail. And then here we have the chrome-tipped exhaust at the back. Pretty alright. Alright guys, thanks again for watching this episode of Imperial Diecast. And next week, I'll be bringing you a big car again. So stay tuned. And see you later.